The moon hung low over the sprawling fields of southeast Memphis, casting long, jagged shadows across the tall grass that swayed like whispers in the humid July night. It was just after midnight on July 19, 2010, and the air was thick with the scent of earth and distant rain. Lorenzen Wright, a towering figure at 6 feet 11 inches, his once athletic frame still commanding even in retirement, burst through the underbrush. His breath came in ragged gasps, his heart pounding not from the exertion of a basketball game, but from raw, primal fear. He clutched his phone, fingers fumbling as he dialed those three fateful numbers, 911.
Georgetown 911, where's your emergency? Hello? 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 I don't have nothing but gunshots. Hello? Hello?
The line connected to the Germantown dispatch. The dispatcher waited, but no address came. No plea for help. Just the eerie quiet that follows violence. Little did she know, those shots had ended the life of a local legend, a man whose story was woven into the fabric of Memphis basketball. Lorenzen Wright lay crumpled in the grass, his body riddled with bullets, 2 to the head, others tearing through his chest and limbs. The field, known locally as Callus Cutoff near Hacks Cross Road, would become a grave, his remains left to the elements for days. But who was this man running for his life? And what shadows from his past had caught up to him in that forsaken place? To understand the horror of that night, we must go back, to the glory days, the fractured family, and the simmering resentments that brewed in the heart of Tennessee. It all began in the quiet, unassuming towns of Mississippi, where a boy with big dreams learned to rise above hardship, one bounce of the ball at a time. Lorenzen Verngania Wright entered the world on November 4, 1975, in the small town of Oxford, Mississippi. A place more known for its university and southern charm than for producing NBA stars. Oxford, with its population hovering around 10,000 at the time, was a far cry from the bright lights of professional basketball arenas. It was a humble setting, where life moved at the pace of the lazy Mississippi summers, and families scraped by on hard work and community ties. Lorenzen's early years were shaped by this environment, one of modest means and resilient spirits. His father, Herb Wright, was a towering influence, literally and figuratively. Herb had been a professional basketball player himself, honing his skills in the rough-and-tumble leagues of Europe, including stints in Finland. He'd even earned a tryout with the NBA's Utah Jazz, dreaming of the big leagues. But Herb's life took a tragic turn that would forever alter the family's path. In 1983, when Lorenzen was just 7 years old, Herb was shot in the back during an altercation while working in Memphis. Some accounts tie it to his time with the police department, though details remain murky in the haze of family lore. The bullet left him paralyzed from the waist down, confining him to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. This wasn't just a physical blow, it shattered the family's stability. Herb, once the provider and athletic role model, now faced a world of limitations, relying on disability support and the unyielding strength of his wife, Deborah Marion. Deborah, Lorenzen's mother, became the rock of the family. Born and raised in the South, she instilled in her son the values of perseverance and faith. Money was tight in those early days. Oxford wasn't a place of wealth for most black families like the Wrights. They lived in a modest home, perhaps with creaky floors and hand-me-down furniture, where meals were simple but filled with love. Lorenzen often spoke in later interviews about how his father's paralysis taught him empathy and drive. Seeing Dad in that chair every day, he once reflected, it made me want to play harder, to make him proud. The bond between father and son was unbreakable. They'd spend hours in the driveway, Herb coaching from his wheelchair as Lorenzen dribbled a worn-out basketball on the cracked pavement. Basketball wasn't just a game, it was an escape and the promise of something better. Lorenzen started playing organized ball young, his height already setting him apart. By middle school, he was dominating local courts, his long arms swatting shots and his soft touch around the rim hinting at future greatness. But Oxford's Lafayette High School, where he began his high school career, offered limited exposure. The Commodores were a small-town team, playing in gyms that smelled of old wood and sweat, against rivals from nearby counties. Lorenzen averaged impressive numbers even as a freshman, double-doubles were routine, but he knew he needed more to catch the eye of college scouts. The pivotal move came before his senior year. Seeking better opportunities, Lorenzen transferred to Booker T. Washington High School in Memphis, Tennessee. A city pulsing with basketball history, home to legends like Penny Hardaway and the University of Memphis Tigers. Memphis was a culture shock, urban, vibrant, and tough. The family relocated, squeezing into an apartment in a working-class neighborhood. Booker T. Washington, known as the Book, was in the heart of South Memphis, an area plagued by poverty and crime but rich in talent. Here, Lorenzen's humble beginnings clashed with his ambitions. He navigated the streets carefully, focusing on the court where he could control his destiny. At Booker T. Washington, Lorenzen exploded. As a senior in the 1993-1994 season, he led the Warriors to a state championship appearance, averaging over 20 points and 15 rebounds per game. His dunks rattled the rims, his blocks sent opponents sprawling. Scouts took notice, he was named to the McDonald's All-American team, rubbing shoulders with future pros like Kevin Garnett and Chauncey Billups. But life off the court remained grounded. Lorenzen worked odd jobs, mowing lawns, delivering papers, to help the family, all while dreaming of lifting them out of hardship. His humility shone through, classmates remembered him as quiet, kind, always sharing his lunch or a ride home. College beckoned, and Lorenzen chose to stay close to home at the University of Memphis, then Memphis State. From 1994 to 1996, under coach Larry Finch, a Memphis icon himself, Lorenzen thrived. As a freshman, he averaged 14.8 points and 10.2 rebounds, helping the Tigers to the NCAA tournament. His sophomore year was electric, 17.4 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks per game, earning him third-team All-American honors from the Associated Press. He was a force in the paint, his footwork refined, his jump shot developing. Off the court, he joined Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, building lifelong bonds. But the NBA called early, after 2 seasons, with his family still struggling, Lorenzen declared for the draft. It was a risk, but one born of necessity and confidence. This humble start, from the dirt roads of Oxford to the gyms of Memphis, forged Lorenzen into Big Low, a man who never forgot where he came from. Yet, as his star rose, new challenges awaited, the glamour of the NBA, the pressures of fame, and a personal life that intertwined love, loss, and betrayal. The 1996 NBA draft was a watershed moment, held in East Rutherford, New Jersey, under the bright lights of the Continental Airlines Arena. Lorenzen, dressed in a sharp suit that barely contained his excitement, heard his name called 7th overall by the Los Angeles Clippers.
Commissioner is ready, as you see.
With the 7th pick in the 1996 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Lorenzen Wright from the University of Memphis.
Well, the record continues here on draft night. That's 7 underclassmen in a row to start off the draft. Lorenzen.
It was a dream realized, a boy from humble Mississippi roots now stepping into the League of Giants like Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal. The Clippers, perennial underdogs, saw in him a versatile big man who could anchor their frontcourt. His rookie contract, a modest $5.4 million over 3 years, but to the Wright family, it was a fortune. Lorenzen's first season, 1996 to 1997, was a baptism by fire. The Clippers were rebuilding, finishing 36-46, but he appeared in 77 games, starting 51. Averaging 7.3 points and 6.1 rebounds in 25.1 minutes, he showed flashes of brilliance. His postseason debut was memorable. In the first-round series against the Utah Jazz, he averaged 10.3 points and 7.3 rebounds over 3 games, including a career playoff-high 17 points in Game 2. Off the court, LA's glitz was overwhelming, Hollywood parties, celebrity sightings, but Lorenzen stayed grounded, sending money home to Oxford and Memphis. The 1997-1998 season saw improvement, 9.2 points and 8.8 rebounds per game, starting all 69 games he played. A highlight came on December 26, 1997, an overtime loss to the Lakers where he dropped a season-high 32 points and 15 rebounds, outdueling Shaq in moments. But injuries nagged, a sprained ankle sidelined him briefly. The Clippers traded him mid-1998 to 1999 to the Atlanta Hawks in a deal for future picks, seeking cap space. In Atlanta, 1999 to 2001, Lorenzen found stability. The Hawks were middling, but he thrived, averaging 12.4 points and 7.5 rebounds in 2000 to 2001, his career-high scoring season. He grabbed a career-high 26 rebounds in one game, showcasing his tenacity. Personal life bloomed too. In 1998, he married Shara Robinson, a Memphis native from a religious family. They met through friends. Shara, with her poised demeanor, seemed the perfect partner. Their first child, Lorenzen Jr., arrived in 1999, followed by twins Shamar and Lamar in 2001. But whispers of strain emerged, Shara's jealousy over Lorenzen's road life, his alleged infidelities. Traded to the Memphis Grizzlies in 2001, Lorenzen returned home as a hero. The Grizzlies, new to Memphis, needed a local face. From 2001 to 2006, he was their rock, averaging 9.6 points and 7.7 rebounds in 2003 to 2004, helping them to their first playoffs. On January 6, 2003, he notched 20 points and 14 rebounds versus the Hornets. Tragedy struck that March. His infant daughter Sierra died of SIDS, plunging the family into grief. Lorenzen founded the Sierra Simone Wright Scholarship Fund in her honor. He also helped orphan Travis Butler in 2000 with fellow Memphians. In 2003, he completed his degree at the University of Memphis, a promise to his mother. But injuries mounted. Knee issues in 2004 to 2005 limited him to 12.0 points, then a drop to 5.8 in 2005 to 2006. Traded back to Atlanta in 2006, his numbers dipped, 9.0 points in 2006 to 2007, then 1.0 in 2007 to 2008 due to reduced role. A multiplayer trade to Sacramento in February 2008 yielded 2.9 points in 5 games. Finally, to Cleveland for 2008 to 2009, 1.4 points in 17 games, his body worn from 13 seasons. Retirement came quietly in 2009. Lorenzen had played 793 games, including playoffs, amassing 6,191 points and 4,943 rebounds. Philanthropy defined him. Foundations for Youth, Generosity in Memphis. But his marriage frayed, divorce from Shara in 2010, amid cheating accusations and financial woes. She got the house, child support, he kept visiting the kids. Little did he know, resentment simmered. By February 2010, the marriage was over. They divorced amicably on paper, with Lorenzen agreeing to child support and a $1 million life insurance policy for the children's benefit, with Shara as the trustee. He moved to Atlanta, but frequently visited Memphis to see his kids. Life seemed to be stabilizing. Lorenzen was dating again, focusing on coaching his son Lorenzen Jr.'s AAU team, and enjoying retirement. But whispers of financial strain followed Shara. The insurance money loomed large, a policy that would pay out only upon his death. Shara, born in 1971 in Memphis, came from a strict religious background. Her father, Julius Robinson, was a former police officer and church deacon. She and Lorenzen had 7 children, Lorenzen Jr. twins Shamar and Lamar, Lawson, Sophia, Sierra, and Loren. Post-divorce, Lorenzen threw himself into family and community. He coached, attended church, and gave back. But Shara's spending raised eyebrows, lavish trips, cars, while claiming poverty in court. Rumors of her involvement with Billy Ray Turner, a church deacon, surfaced later. July 18, 2010, was a sweltering Sunday in Memphis. Lorenzen had flown in from Atlanta to spend time with his children at Shara's home in Collierville, a quiet suburb. The house, a spacious 7,000 square foot property, was a remnant of better times. He arrived with cash, rumors said up to $10,000, and spent the day barbecuing, playing with the kids, and catching up. That evening, he hung out with a friend, discussing future plans. Around 10:30 p.m., he told Shara he was heading out. "I'll call you tomorrow," he said, hugging the children goodbye. He drove off in his Cadillac Escalade, but phone records later showed something peculiar, texts and calls that lured him away from safety. By midnight, he was in that field, running. The 911 call captured the end, gunshots. His body, positioned as if he'd been fleeing, suggested an ambush. Who knew his whereabouts? Who had motive? Deborah Marion grew worried when calls to her son went unanswered. On July 22, she reported him missing. Friends and family searched frantically. Shara told police Lorenzen had left with drugs and money, implying he was involved in shady dealings, a narrative that muddied the waters. He said he was going to flip something, she claimed, painting him as a risk-taker. The search intensified. Flyers plastered Memphis, rewards offered. Then, on July 28, a tip led police to the field. Bikers had reported a foul smell days earlier, but it was dismissed. Now, officers found the decomposed remains, identified by dental records. The city mourned, vigils at FedEx Forum, tributes from NBA stars like Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway. The autopsy was grim, 11 entry wounds, body weight down to 57 pounds from decomposition. Cause of death, multiple gunshot wounds. Homicide. But no weapon, no suspects. Memphis PD, Under-Director Tony Armstrong, vowed justice. "This is a high-profile case," Armstrong said. "We're leaving no stone unturned." The investigation hit roadblocks early. The crime scene was contaminated by weather and time, evidence washed away. Witnesses were scarce, the field was remote. Rumors swirled, gang involvement, drug deals gone wrong, even a hit over gambling debts. Shara was questioned repeatedly. She cooperated at first, but her story shifted. She mentioned Lorenzen's street life, but provided no proof. Financial records revealed extravagance. Within months of the murder, she spent nearly the entire $1 million insurance payout. $32,000 on a Cadillac Escalade, $26,000 on a Lexus, $69,000 on furniture, trips to New York, $11,750, a new home, $339,000, and more. By 2013, only $5.05 remained for the kids. Wright sued her, alleging mismanagement. A judge ordered a trust, but the damage was done. In 2015, Shara published Mr. Tell Me Anything, a self-described fiction novel. But parallels were eerie: a basketball wife enduring abuse, infidelity, and financial woes. One scene mirrored a real incident where Shara allegedly burned Lorenzen's clothes. Readers wondered, was this confession disguised as art? Years passed. The case went cold. Armstrong retired in 2016, frustrated. "It's like he vanished into thin air," one investigator said. The reward climbed to $21,000, but tips dried up. Deborah Marion held annual memorials, pleading for answers. "Someone knows something," she insisted. The turning point came from an unlikely source: Jimmy Martin, Shara's cousin, serving life for a 1993 murder. In 2012, seeking leniency, Martin approached the FBI. He claimed immunity and spilled, Shara had plotted Lorenzen's murder for the insurance money. She was deep in debt, resentful of child support battles. Martin detailed a failed attempt in Atlanta in 2010. Shara, Martin, and Billy Ray Turner, a landscaper and deacon at Mount Olive No. 1 Missionary Baptist Church, where Shara's father preached, broke into Lorenzen's home. Armed, they waited, but he didn't show. Plan B, Shara allegedly said. Back in Memphis, Shara lured Lorenzen with texts about meeting someone. Turner ambushed him in the field, firing the shots. Martin helped dispose of evidence, including tossing the gun, a .45 caliber, into a lake in Walnut, Mississippi. Skeptical at first, police verified details. In November 2017, divers recovered the gun from the lake. Ballistics matched shell casings from the scene. Phone records showed calls between Shara and Turner around the murder time and Turner near the field at midnight. On December 5, 2017, Turner was arrested at a convenience store. Shara, now in Riverside, California, was nabbed days later. Extradited to Memphis, she faced first-degree murder, conspiracy, and attempt charges. Bond, $20 million for her, $15 million for Turner. "This is justice long overdue," Armstrong said from retirement. Martin testified, Shara masterminded it, motivated by greed. "She wanted that money," he said. Turner, her alleged lover or accomplice, pulled the trigger. Defense attacked Martin's credibility, a convicted killer with incentives. Shara's behavior in jail was erratic, flooding cells, stripping, berating staff. Judge Lee Coffey cited it in denying bond reduction. "She's a danger," he ruled. Then, a twist: on July 25, 2019, Shara pleaded guilty to facilitation of first-degree murder and attempted murder. No trial. Sentenced to 30 years, eligible for parole after 9, with time served. "I accept responsibility," she said flatly. Prosecutors accepted, avoiding a risky trial. Deborah Marion was furious, she got off easy. Turner's trial began March 14, 2022. Prosecutors painted him as the gunman, with Martin's testimony, phone pings, and the gun as evidence. Defense claimed frame-up, pointing to Martin. After 7 days, the jury deliberated 3 hours, guilty on all counts, first-degree murder, conspiracy, attempt. Life without parole. In May 2022, Cher's parole was denied. She'll wait until 2027. Turner appealed, maintaining innocence in 2023 interviews. "I didn't do it." Echoes of a fallen legend. From draft night glory to the roar of NBA arenas, Lorenzen Wright's journey carried the hopes of a city and left a legacy that still echoes today. Lorenzen Wright's murder shook Memphis, exposing betrayal in a family once envied. His children, now adults, carry the scars. Deborah Marion finds solace in justice. "My son can rest." If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic abuse, help is available. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-7233. You are not alone.